Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing what's in this box. Stay tuned. Okay, it's the Klarus FlatTac X1E actually. Just slim tactical flashlight, 14.5 millimeters, 125 grams, USB-C, IPX6. What else we got? And 2 switches, yep, and 5 modes from instant on. Okay, it's all about instant access. Let's unbox this thing. So, what's inside the box? The UI. I read this wrong initially, but you have to read from inside out. That's how you read it. So main switch, 1 click to go on, press a hold, click, etc. So inside out is how you read this. I kind of like that has a very clear UI. That's a muggle could read this, and it's quite simple. So it's actually muggle friendly. USB-A to Type-C. I have 1,000 of these at this point. We have the flashlight itself. Let's just go through the specs. So length, we're looking at about 14.5 length centimeters, about 1.4 in width, thickness, and width is 3.2. So that is the dimension. Let's get the weight. They say lightweight. They say 125 grams. Let's find out. It is 118. That's not bad. A little bit lighter than. And then this is 18650 MSR quad. And we are looking with 18650 inside. We are looking at 112. So you get an idea of what's the weight it's pulling in your pocket. And I think that's okay. Let's see, 18650, you're gonna get about what, 3000 milliamp capacity. This one should be around 21, so you get less because you're, I guess, is more body in. Is it 2150, I believe. So the UI, we have just a quick access basically to low and to high, which is probably the best thing about this flashlight, maybe compared to some other flashlight you have in your collection. And it's essentially holding, gives you the lowest. Let me shut down these lights. Okay, so hold it, you get the low. They call it Moonlight, but 15 lumens is not Moonlight, so just the lowest is 15 lumens, and then you press this and you get the highest 4200. It's quite bright for 15 seconds, and then it'll ramp down. So you have quick access to low and quick access to high. Okay, so if you're gonna use this as a regular flashlight, you can just click on to the regular button. So here's click on, so 15 lumens, then you just click and keep ramping it up. So as you notice, actually the proximity sensor kicked in. So 15, watch it just keep preventing it. That's just so you don't burn your holster or your pocket accidentally by turning this on if you happen to not have it locked. So that proximity sensors right there will protect it. You find that on NItecore as well. So it's click, and then it will just click and it'll go through the different outputs, and then you hold to shut it off, and then it'll memorize it. So click, let's go through the different 15 lumens, 65, 200, 1200, 2200, and then cycle back down. Okay. And then of course, if you're just say that you're in, let's say you're 200, 1200, just say you were at 1200 and that was memorized, and you're like, okay, I don't want us to start at 1200, then you can just, momentary 15, and then that becomes the next memorize. So next time you turn on 15 lumens. So yeah, actually, I would prefer that they did a click on and click off. The only thing I can think of is possibly that they wanted to make the user able to cycle through the output as quick as possible. Maybe in a high stress situation, you turn it on and it's not enough, and you just need to boost it up as fast as possible, right? So maybe that's the reason why they did it that way. I think just personally, I just prefer to click on, click off, and to hold to ramp it. But it's a specialized flashlight. Okay, so hold to shut it off. Now we get to the red button. We have the momentary that I showed you, 4200 is counting down, as you see. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. It's really hot. I can feel the heat, the heat from the beam. Okay, and then we have a 1 click, and that gives you the strobe, variable strobe. And then you double click it, and then you have SOS, and then you double click it to cycle. It goes to beacon, double click, SOS, double click, beacon. So it just cycled between SOS and beacon, then click off. Okay, so it's quite simple. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and now it's locked, but you still have access to 15, which is kind of cool. So you still, even though it's a lock, you still have a quick access if you need a quick light, even though it's locked. And then this is 15 lumens. It's not going to burn your pants pocket or hurt anyone, so it's good that way. It's essentially locking out all the high power outputs. 1, 2, 3, and then it's unlocked. So I guess different than a NItecore would be that this doesn't have a sliding switch compare. So I guess some people may prefer a sliding switch to lock and unlock the flashlight, but then think that's the weak spot. That's possibly the weak spot of why this is actually more waterproof. So if you worry about like rain or something, this is IPX6, which is better than the NItecore. So let's just go into the pros and cons. Pro, easy UI, as I showed you. At the very least, you have the full blast and a full low. That's it. And I think when your brain is all fuzzy and you're in a high stress situation, that's all you need to know. You're using the 15 lumens to navigate the house. That's plenty bright of what you need. And then when you need the boomstick, boom, 4200 lumens for 15 seconds. You just blind someone if you had to. So I like the easy UI. It actually could be muggle friendly UI. Okay, and ergos, the nice slanted. So this is very comfortable. But the con of that, the compromise, is that can't tail stand it, obviously, right? So it's definitely made for a singular purpose, that you have that kind of overhand where it's very comfortable. I guess you could walk with the light. I don't know if you would walk with the overhand, kind of weird, but you could walk with the light like this way. Another pro would be the ceramic beads. Those are glass breakers. So if you had to punch a window, if you're a law enforcement or security, you may need to punch a window to save someone. Could be search and rescue or someone like that. It's definitely better than metal. Ceramic, it needs to be a hard, like small material to punch out at the corner of the window and it will just collapse and fall apart. So very nice feature. Another pro would be it's flat, which will make it actually, if you have like a molly system, let me see, where's my, grab a sling bag. So I have my sling bag and you have like these kind of molly system. Obviously a flatter light clips and retains better, or you can be like this, for example. If it goes to your pocket, lays flatter as well. You just don't need to have a sort of holster on the outside of your belt. So it could be nice and slim. I like that there's also an output protection, that little proximity sensor right there. That is also nice, so you don't melt your pants or holster or whatever, your bag, by accident. Because you have these big protruding switches, it is also glove friendly. All the pros, is definitely designed for that singular purpose, you know, the defensive light. The con, the limited turbo, you only have 15 seconds. I think for most people, I guess that's enough. I'm not a security or a law enforcement, so I actually don't know how many seconds is enough. I do have my beam shop video that I did separate, and then when I had the 4200 running to spot some kind of like animal fighting in the trees, it sounded like monkeys fighting, and as soon as I kicked down to like 200 lumens after that 4200 lumens, it just like everything went dark and like crap. So yeah, it's kind of sucks to also to have that, you know, you have that superior brightness, but it doesn't last so long. But it's the limitation of every flashlight in the market. That's just basically physics. 15 seconds limitation. So I do have a wish list on that. Also, there's no real moonlight. I don't think there's, it's just not that type of light that you're looking for moonlight. Having that low 15 lumens that they just call moonlight, yeah, I just think that's fine. So the wish list would be, I would prefer a click on, click off. Click on and click off instead of the next click doing the output ramping. I would prefer just a holding for that, because most flashlights are like that. And actually I would like, as a wish list, and I don't think other flashlights, NItecore doesn't do this either, is that I would like if you could switch that top output, this 4200 output. Now of course I could go into this and click up to, let's see, oh, I need to get my hand out of the way, the proximity sensor. Okay, I can get, for example, up to 2200, and then I can just hold, and then to shut it down, I can just click and access it that way. But I think if they had an option in which you can kind of click this 20 times, it would toggle between 4200 and 2200, so that I have the option of what I want as the maximum, you know, turbo output. I think that would be kind of cool. Instead of 15 seconds of the limited turbo, I would like whatever the 2200, maybe it will be 5 minutes, or you can put a couple of minutes. I think that's the only wishes I would like. Even I'm more of an EDC person, I'm not a Leo, I'm not a security guy, I'm not search and rescue. This typically shouldn't fit my EDC goals or what I need, my necessities, but I think that as a person who everyone owns a home and everyone needs to defend their home, and I know I had that situation in the past. I think I talked about this before on this channel, and that I had to wake up like in 4 in the morning, and then my wife said someone was in the house, and then so I just have to go check, and my brain was so messed up at that time that I couldn't operate at MSR because my brain was so fuzzy. I didn't even know what I was doing. But in having something like this, I think every person should have one of these kind of simple light in their collection, in their stable, that I could just have a low to navigate the house, and if I had to, I can boom with the full output. So I think even anyone who owns a home or they're trying to defend their family, they'll love something like this. Or you go for a walk and perhaps you don't even need to use a flashlight on your walk, and you may need to just have something that you feel like may protect you. Maybe it's a dog, or maybe you need to just spot if that's a black cat or a skunk ahead, and then you just have full output. Super easy. Okay, I guess the biggest compare this would be a NItecore. I don't think any NItecore EDC completely matches this. NItecore uses a dual switch, a half button for a turbo and then full press for strobe, while this is a hold for turbo and a click for strobe, click off. It's a completely different UI, and I have to say that when my friend was using a NItecore EDC 25 and we were going hiking, during that hike twice he actually activated strobe accidentally. So that wasn't even in a high stress situation. I don't know what kind of experience that Leos have with the NItecore or what, but I feel like that kind of half press, full press button UI under stress may have you accidentally activate strobe instead of turbo, which may disorient, you know, the assailant, but it also may disorient yourself as well. So that's what I didn't like about the NItecore, the half press, full press UI. Okay, so in my opinion, that's what I thought Klarus had the advantage, and it also had a advantage in the IPX6 versus IP54, so NItecore is not as waterproof. One thing I like about the NItecore instead of this is that this one doesn't have a runtime, so you can't really tell. You do see the battery indicator, you see the lumens, right? So for some people that might be enough. It just says level 3. You can see it's full battery, 200 lumens, now it's 1200. So you don't have any runtime. If you like that kind of feature, you may get a NItecore instead. One of the advantage of the Klarus as well, I didn't get the knuckle ring thing, but they do have one that has like a tactical ring that you can put your finger in. You don't lose a flashlight. That has multiple features. It can be a defensive tool. It actually may be a legal loophole. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on it. I'm not a lawyer, but a lot of places knuckle dusters are actually illegal. But that may count as some kind of like flashlight holder that's slash and knuckle duster. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that way, but if you live in a sketchy area, if I lived in a sketchy area, I would have considered the loop one, but I live in Asia, so these are made for police officers, search and rescue, and security. But there is an argument that you could own this as an EDC person, have this as that emergency high stress situation. Okay, so that's it. That is the review on this. What do you think? Do you own a flat flashlight? Do you think it's useful? Some people might not like the built-in battery, but I'm okay with that. In a couple years, maybe I lose 20% of the battery life and 20% of the runtime. There's still a lot of runtime left. If you see the beam shot video, how the outputs look like, is more of a 200 lumen light. You know, of course, anything above that ramps down because of heat management. That's it. Thanks for next time.
Yeah.